Greetings and salutations, travelers. Welcome back to the Inn of Planar Crossroads. And as always, welcome back to our Around the Hearth chats. This time, we are discussing chickens in actual adventures. And actual adventures you can run with chickens and ideas for that. We talked about the races last time and incorporating those into 5 different systems with it. We had Pathfinder 1e, Pathfinder 2e, Open Legend, D&D, 5e, and Savage Worlds. So, we didn't do any World of Darkness chickens because I wasn't sure how their race thing works, so I didn't try. I would rather leave that to someone who actually knows that system, because I don't.
Basically, you would just cut out a lot of the feats that don't make sense. And then use the New World of Darkness, like the core book that's just for like humans. And you would just maintain the feats that a chicken could take, and then scale everything else in the world to be scarier.
Oh, that's not very hard
for
chickens.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's my point though, is that you just take, instead of using werewolves, you just use wolves.
The giants are coming!
Yeah, exactly. Like, basically you just cut a lot of content and then call it chickens and thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Alright. Okay, but before we get into this chat, actually, we need to do our announcements. Always less than 5 minutes from me. You can time me. Here we go. So, for the Inn of Planar Crossroads, I announced last time, I'm going to announce it again because I'm not sure if this comes out before June or not. I don't think it does. I think this actually comes out in June, so you may already be seeing this. But I'm going to try and have at least the first version of the new website layout up by June, and that'll have our support area as well as gradually putting in those posts that mirror our content onto that. And we are trying to work things out where the mirroring process will be better on BitChute than it has been, because that's real tedious to have to upload every single thing again that you upload onto YouTube. There's supposed to be a way to share that back and forth. I'm talking with them about that. But far as that goes, those are the announcements. That main thing of that, getting that web page up and going. As for the... Let me see. We should be, when this starts to come out, or right after, we should be doing a collaboration in June. So you will have to wait until July to see it, but it will be recorded in June. I'm hoping to get a whole bunch of content that I can just put out there.
Yeah.
I don't know
all
how
content, right?
It's all content. If we're gonna keep doing that, we really do need that animation.
We do.
But anyway, that's all for the Inn of Planar Crossroads. Now we've got Dan from Avenue Studios.
Hello. Yep, I am here. We are in the process still of working, but I got my new backdrop. We're going to be putting some shelves. There's going to be all kinds of cool stuff there and some special lighting. I've actually got one of them here. These things are awesome. They do different colors and everything. So, it'll be cool because we are about to enter into the world of Twitch for Avenue Studios. So sometime around when this is coming out in June, we are going to be doing our first Twitch live streaming. It will also be then put up on YouTube and Rumble. Maybe podcast, we'll see. But yeah, you can find us on YouTube, Rumble, and podcast, and very soon Twitch. We'll be starting our Twitch series of Pathfinder 2e, the beginner box. So Jacob from Jacob's Lab is going to be running myself and some of our patrons through that beginner's box, and we'll see how that goes. So I'm quite excited. And there will be collaborations and maybe some actual fires and drinks and all kinds of good stuff coming, so we'll see you there.
Don't get too excited, you pyromaniacs. All right. So
it's the electric fireplace. It's not real. I mean, it's totally real.
It's totally real.
Movie magic.
Okay. All right.
Anyways, that's us.
That's Dan from Avenue Studios. Now we have our spotlight with Levi.
So I realized I actually do have exactly one thing of my own that I could spotlight.
I'm excited.
If you're in the Columbus area, I bake pies for money.
Really?
There you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So my most famous pie among people at my work, who are the only people I have so far sold pies to, is wild berry pie.
Ooh. Very.
And to be fair, I have sold a good, like a surprising number of wild berry pies personally. One guy bought 3 at once, and he ate them over the course of a weekend.
I was gonna
with
say,
his girlfriend.
Let it hang there.
He asked how many I was willing to make at a time, and someone else was buying one, so I baked 4. He kept 3.
There you go.
Man knows what he wants.
Well, leave a comment down below if you want Levi to bake you a pie.
Oh my gosh.
More specific, probably should be in the Columbus area. Pies don't ship well.
That's not your fault. That's the shippers. That's the shipping company's fault.
Mm.
If you write fragile on the box, they shouldn't shake it around.
Because I would totally get a strawberry rhubarb pie from you if you could.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, strawberry rhubarb, easy enough.
That's so
Haven't
good.
made one yet.
Now, wait a
Mostly
minute.
because I'm not...
Do you know what this means?
What?
This means that Dan did a butchering, last year when he got when he got a deer. So he's the butcher, you're the baker. Am I gonna have to make candlesticks?
I mean, it's easy enough to do. Like, if you wanna. Like,
Yeah, they go well on top of a hearth too, so it's.
Yeah, and when you make those dark black obsidian ones, you never know what type of ritual magic will spawn out of those
Yeah.
things. It's like,
especially if you go with the fancy of, like, you make a red one and then you coat that one in the obsidian.
yeah.
Mm-mm.
All
So that way
right.
you get a nice color palette at the end.
I love it. That
Okie
makes me
dokie.
happy.
Also, I can only sell specific types of pie because of legal things.
Oh. It only counts if. Oh, that's right, custard.
Like, I can't make sweet potato pies
What?
and sell them to people because they are not counted as safe without refrigeration.
Huh.
And because I don't have a license, I cannot sell them. And I can't get a license because there are pets in the house.
So, you just give the pie.
You
And
sell
they
them.
happen to give you money.
Well, see what
They're
you.
not connected.
The way you legally get around that is you sell them the pie crust. What is it? The pie pan. You sell them the pie pan that happens to have
A
a
pie,
pie
in it.
in it.
The pan itself is like overpriced, but you know.
Yeah,
But
the pie's incidental.
yeah.
But I'd have to be careful, look into more stuff.
I mean, that's literally.
That's fascinating.
That's actually how people have done it. They've gone around.
Okay.
I mean, private people, not like big companies, but private people have actually
Yeah.
gone around.
Oh yeah, I if I had the production to be big company, I could just have a kitchen and get the proper licensing.
And that would be your name, Big Company.
Big co-
Anyways, we gotta talk chickens.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Okay. Long
like
intro.
a chicken pot pie.
Chicken pot pie.
There you go,
Oh,
tying it in.
Done. Boom, boom, boom.
All right.
Okay.
Circle back.
Okie dokie. Well, I guess that's all the announcements then. And
How much of this is going bloopers?
I'm just gonna put a chapter in there that says funny announcement or
Okay.
something like Levi's funny announcement or something.
Levi's pies.
Levi's
Bye-bye.
pie announcement. And then we're going to say, this is where it starts. So this is where it starts. Sit down. Rest your feet by the fire. And with this time of the year, grab a cool drink you enjoy as we sit around and discuss the adventures that you can put your chicken races in. All right.
I still am thinking chicken races, like racing chickens.
Okay, fine. There's a chicken race. There's a
We
chicken.
gotta do it.
This is where you put the chicken races in, okay?
Can we start
Chicken
there?
racer, chicken racer, chicken racer, go. That's where you do. It's an actual chicken race, and they're actual athletes, and you can go full on where they have machines if you want to. But, the whole thing is, that's the theme song. Chicken racer, chicken. And everybody has to sing it together when you start for your whatever intro you do.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing better than starting a campaign or something with, like, a festival, and there's the chicken races, but they're sentient chicken athletes.
Yep. Chicken athletes. They've got to get tested and stuff like that. Some of them are roided up.
Yes!
They
What a
get disqualified.
one-shot, right?
Gotta check whether they're wild or broil.
Yeah, whether they're wild-born or broiled-born. Broiled-born
Yes.
are banned because their size category is too high. And then they try to breed. They're trying to Adaptus Astartes these and genetically modify and breed these smaller buff chickens to win the races. They're trying to miniaturize the giant chickens back down to normal chickens, but with the same meat.
So a miniature giant hamster, but chicken.
Yes, it's Boog, but you could call him Bok.
Yeah. Like Ant-Man, the Ant-Man principles of the smaller they get, the more powerful they get.
Something like that.
Even they don't follow those.
Oh. No. That's actually for, like, space magic. You could definitely have a thing of where you just cast Reduce. So that way they go down a size category, but they're super buff.
Mm-hmm. Just doing the gym bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
with their
That's just how
wings.
they walk around, though. They don't know any different.
Their muscles are built such that they can't not Johnny Bravo.
That is actually legitimately would be a really fun one-shot or multi-session game. Like, hey everybody, we're getting together. You're all chicken. Like, sit down at the table.
Oh.
You're all chickens. Maybe
you gotta win a race.
roll for there's a race going. I don't know if people decide if they want to be cheating in the background with stuff, and it's a whole thing of like.
Well, it's a
can
one
you
shot, so
sneak in?
you
Ooh,
could actually
like a
be
heist
playing-
game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you-
kinda. Yeah.
So you're having like downtime, but instead of playing and RPing all the downtime shopping and stuff, you end up saying, okay, a festival's going on. You guys aren't playing your characters. You're playing the things that your characters are betting on or do or are involved in.
Mm.
And
I
that
like
can be a
that
way to
too.
do a downtime idea too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And like for GM Burnout, just like, nope, you're gonna race his chickens for.
Yeah. GM Burnout, this'll fix it. Race chickens.
Well, it's just a break. It's the idea is that it's like, hey, I've got all this other stuff in my head right now, but you all are gonna make a couple builds, and we're gonna see who's fastest.
And they're like a whole troop of chickens, and they hire different chicken troops to compete. Because they're all, say they're tiny. They're still the tiny chickens. They're not the small category chickens. So they're all these tiny chicken athletes that they've got contracted to come in, that the city contracts to come in for the festival, or the town contracts to come in for the festival. And they
Like the Globetrotters, but
like the
tiny racers.
Yeah,
Tiny racers.
so they've got all they get 3 or 4 different groups, and these groups, maybe one of the groups really is taking this seriously, and the other groups are not as serious, but they're still involved in the business portion of it, so they're trying to at least. And they don't have a representative. You talk to the chickens. They don't have a human representative. You talk to the chicken organizer. You don't talk to some human to try and intermediate.
I see the chicken. You don't talk to him. You talk to me. Down here.
Dang. Well,
He's my water boy.
That's my water boy. That's my wife.
Yes.
You're talking to me. I'm
Some, like,
here
baked
talking to
pork
you.
or something.
I'm here talking to you about what we're gonna be doing for this festival. Because I don't want any of my boys to get any kind of problems going on between these other chicks. I mean, them foul over there, we don't know how foul they are. You get what I'm saying? You understand where I'm coming from?
The Bawkfia?
The Bawkfia. One of them's involved with the Bawkfia.
I love it.
Oh, and they've got a serious beef against the Mallard Mafia.
Yes.
The Bawkfia hates the Mallard Mafia. So
those ducks, they need too much.
those ducks,
You know, chickens are simple.
Kluc'kin ducks.
Oh my gosh! Yes.
That
Chicken
sounds
swears.
Okay, Cluckin' Ducks definitely has the, like, that's like, yeah, that's another chicken campaign. Like, you are part of the Bawkfia.
Okay, so that's
And you
the
gotta
modern
take down a
campaign.
group.
That's one of the
Yeah.
modern
I
campaigns.
do. I mean, it's just a flavor thing, but I love the idea of just like some chickens, like smoking some cigarettes just out. You know, like do film noir. Like it's always raining in the city. And there's smoking.
Oh, you know what would be
Ooh.
really funny? If it's on a big farm and there's all these other animals, but whenever you see, like, you play it like the chicken, but every time you cut away at the end of the session, it's just the farmer looking at his normal chickens like, what are they doing? So it's all happening in all the chickens' head. Like, all the farm animals are in on this thing. This is how the chickens see the world that they're trying to organize. So you want to
That's
come over?
funny.
I gotta make a move. Come first. Come.
Oh,
There's this big. You have to let it
godfather.
be a hen though, because the hens always get fatter. So you get the big
That's
fat
true.
hen. So she's like,
yes, the chicken godmother.
we're making another camera first.
I love this. Ironically, Nerdarchy's doing a Zoo Mafia live streaming game right now, so I'm totally vibing on this,
Perfect.
like Farm Mafia.
Farm Mafia, yeah. I think it's funner if you
yeah.
do like a larger farm where there's a variety of animals
Yeah,
than
for
just doing like the chickens are in this modern setting anyway. The chickens are facing against other chickens all the time or something. Maybe there's two different flocks, but it'd be more fun if it was like chickens versus ducks or
Yeah.
the chickens
there's
and the
like-
ducks. What was that?
I was just gonna say that, like, the advantage of using, like, different farm species is that you can, like, give them entirely different vibes and organizational structures and whatnot.
sure. Right. Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, the ducks have, like, a tenuous alliance between all of them. Like, they will work together to beat out the chickens from any of their territory, but they're not... Like, the chickens, right, we've got our mafia structure, we've got our mob boss, lieutenants, whatnot. Duckland is just like, the chickens come there, they work together, shove them out, and then they fight for a little territory within the area.
That's so funny if it's actually called Duckland, where they hold themselves.
It's
Not
just a
Buckland.
pond.
Yeah, not Buckland. It's Duckland. And,
Yes.
And you've got the chickens over there in the where they've got the chickens may actually be the more civilized, advanced ones in this particular
Right.
one, and in the
They're at the very least the more communal.
yeah, they're more communal. And I mean, ducks and chickens get along in real life, but in this, the ducks and the
Right.
chickens don't like each other. And there's like this tension, and then the GM can bring into the farm the migrating geese.
Oh,
And
yes.
and so they have to deal with this new power coming in. This new power
And they're always
dynamic.
coming in at the same time of the year, and they just come in for a little bit, you know, and then
Yeah,
they move on.
They upset the order on the farm.
Yes.
And the chickens and the ducks never are prepared because they're too busy fighting with each other.
there's like a little bit of hatred between them because like the ducks can actually fly and the chickens.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why do you even have wings?
Well, you have wings, you don't go nowhere, you stay here on the farm. Why you doing that? Just get out of here. Go back to Brooklyn. Go back. Shoo, duck, shoo. And he's like, or whatever, if you can do the, don't you talk like that to me in the Donald Duck voice or something. I guess.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so
I love that.
There's our modern game. Mafia.
And then you
ducks.
obviously have like the coyote as serial killer trope.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's another dynamic you could bring in there. Be like
raccoons, actually.
Fair.
Possums.
Possums. 100%.
Depending on where you set it. So if you set it out where there's more coyotes, you could do coyotes. If you set
coyotes are good.
But
Fox.
Foxes. Fox in the hen house is a trope for a reason.
Right.
This is more like modern, I guess, horror.
You could.
I'm getting a very. Do you guys know from Telltale Games, Wolf Among Us? Or is the fairy tale detective series video game?
Big Bad Wolf.
I know of it, but I have not played it.
I love the feel of that. They did kind of the film noir thing, so I always vibe with that for this too, of like the fox coming in and that's good. Yeah, I like it.
Maybe the horses are trying to get them to deal with things. The horses are all free spirits out there, and they're running around and stuff.
Yes.
They're all hippies or something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say like Eastern mysticism. They kind of just say these things.
The horses are pontificating on different things out there, and then maybe the cows are the more practical versions of the horses. And
yes.
They just shake their heads and go on grazing.
Oh my gosh!
So there's
That's
a modern one you can use. There's also the classic chicken run example, which is escaping from the humans. So I'm not sure. I mean, people. That's one you can play up if you want to. You can do that type of game. Chickens don't really want to leave their roosts, though. They like.
True enough.
They like you. They like being in their coop and not
The
necessarily.
difference
food
is
and the
that
water
they
is
realize
right
what's
here.
happening.
Yeah. So you are playing intelligent ones, so there's that.
Right. Like, they'd love to stay in their roost if they weren't going to turn into chicken pot pies.
Right. Yeah. I guess you could do it for poultry chickens if they could realize what's happening in a couple months.
Yeah.
It's like the egg layers. It's like, what? Why would you leave?
Yeah. Like the broilers, they want to leave, but the layers, I don't know.
That's kind of cool. Yeah.
Unless it's a crew of layers who've all slowed down.
Ooh,
That's true.
it's
The
true.
old timers. Yeah.
They learn that they're getting phased out.
Old
That
lady
usually doesn't
escape
happen
movie.
on a regular farm. I think like an escape one would work really well if you themed it around the idea of a more factory style farm.
Oh, for sure.
Sure. Yeah. That will. Yeah.
Because I
'cause,
don't
like,
know about
We're
you,
probably
Dan.
putting our real life like.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm spoiling my girls over
Yeah.
here. Like they've got windows that open and
Yeah.
venting and like a whole.
Well, and plus,
roost.
like, even if you were being a bad person about it, there's less total escape to do for, like, a campaign.
Yeah. Right.
Right, like, the factory one, you get, like, a lot more... Like, for one, it's more inhumane, straight up. But for
There's a
second,
lot
there's also a lot more play to happen of the path of, like, escaping out of the factory chicken farm area. And there's also a lot more of the ability to see the brutality to, like, inspire you, like, oh, no, we gotta get out of here.
Right. I'm
Ooh.
laughing at like the one that has Stockholm syndrome and is like happy to be here.
You could definitely do like almost a Bioshock type of feel to it, of the idea of the escape, like they're born into it, and then they hatched here. Why would they leave? Why would they leave? Of course, they don't.
I
hatch
like the
their-
Bioshock thing too. Of like, there's modifications that you could get.
Oh, it is.
Different
Chicken
Different
mods.
concoctions for different
injections.
breeds.
Yeah.
Pick them up as you go.
I think that'd
Interesting.
work. So that's a couple modern actually. That's a few moderns. What about a
Yeah.
fantasy? I've actually had a chicken in a campaign before, in a fantasy campaign.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a familiar of a witch,
Okay.
and he could. The whole thing of why I think chickens are so funny in games now is not just because they're chickens, but because he knew, he thought, well, I can cast a touch spell through my familiar, right? Right. All right. So Henryetta, in which was the chicken's name, she was really
Perfect.
evil. She was an evil chicken. She was, because he was a witch, but he was kind of chaotic. He wasn't kind of chaotic neutral. He was a chaotic neutral character, and she was dealing with him, and she was classic type of evil witch type of familiar, and he wanted to cast that spell through her, but the enemy was on the other side, and he says, all right, I want to throw my murder chicken. And he threw his murder chicken to do a touch spell on the enemy,
Yeah.
and it worked.
I mean,
So I was like, okay, you can try, was what was said, type of thing.
Yeah,
And there you go.
That's your first mistake. Let them try.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think we've ever forgotten that. About, I throw the chicken, and it's a murder chicken type of thing. Because
Yeah.
that's, Henryetta started to get her murder chicken name there. So that's one way you can use it as a familiar, but I think in an actual sense, having them as a fantasy race isn't that far off. We play pixies and other type of beast folk, so incorporating them into a fantasy, especially if you have in the backstory that there may be a breed of awakened chickens, that the magic passed through them into the eggs, or when it was cast, it was cast on a flock of chickens to awaken them, and it affected the eggs of the females because they have all their eggs in them anyway, and it affected the roosters at the same time. So any resulting children were awakened also, and because they were born awakened, it could degrade. You could do that, where they're having to. That would actually be a fun way to deal with it. So the elders of the tribe of chickens, the elders of the Kluc'kins, realize that their children are dumber than they are, and their children's children are dumber, and so they're losing the magic, and that's why this group is adventuring, so that they can be sent out to find a way to help them not lose their intelligence, because they want to remain intelligent. So
okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
And where you first were talking about the magic fading, I was initially imagining as opposed to where like Alzheimer's sort of things is not strictly necessarily going to happen. I was imagining in this chicken grouping it being a very, very real reality for all of them. That they were born with the full amount of magic. So like in the eggs, they were geniuses.
okay, they were smarter
Oh.
and they were younger.
Yeah, so that would actually... So, in this case, the society then gets ruled by eggs. With
The
telepathy.
chicks. Oh
No, not the chicks.
All the fertilized eggs are are
Yes.
basically geniuses after a certain
They're the
point.
council
They're the
that
council.
rules
Oh, wow.
The Council of Eggs. The Great Council.
Right, because that's where the awakening magic is strongest.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's a pretty strong idea. That's a pretty strong backstory idea.
Yeah.
And if you get too close to it, like, potentially you go into kind of mind flayer overbrain concepts, where you get too close and then the eggs, like, mind control invaders.
Yeah. That would make them more dangerous for those around them. If you do those, you might want to edit the races that we saw showcased last time and change around their natural attacks to some kind of mesmeric natural ability.
Yeah, and take, like, the intelligence penalties away from the version I used. Because in my case, I was imagining they came upon more like how, like, lizard folk, cat folk, Uruxi and Amurin, respectively. However they came about, it just happened. And that's what I was assuming with chickens, but if you want to go with, like, an intentionally mentally boosted version, you'd want to probably give them an intelligence and maybe, like, also wisdom.
Yeah. You could do intelligent if you're going for the egg one, which would probably, well, it doesn't have to be dimorphic. You could do the egg one, and it would be, you could dump the charisma because maybe they don't want to engage in that way because they're so intelligent. Maybe you could do that.
But
of course, then
so okay,
are you going to actually are people actually going to play as eggs?
no. I was actually going to assume that for this version, the eggs would not be, like, player characterable. These stats would be for once you have, like, hatched and can move around on your own.
It would be interesting too, because if that's
where you would not be as smart as you once were.
Yeah. Because the maybe they have a hard time with with their order and stuff like that, because eggs are laid in clutches and chickens lay together and lay their eggs together, or tend to. So how many overminds would there be?
That's why there's a council. When we're talking about in my assumption, right, it's not like each and every individual egg would be mind controlling in that extreme of power, but that they would work together as a collective.
So they would basically, the clutch forms a hive mind.
Until hatched.
Yeah, and they leave the hive mind when they're hatched, and as they age, they lose their intelligence.
Yes. A very strange, but I think interesting.
Yeah.
These seem more interesting to come upon than to necessarily play as.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I see this as a really cool thing the party could come on to, too, because they'd enter in with the assumption of the elders, the olders being the leaders, and the having to interact with this, whether the eggs and stuff play on that, if the kids, the peeps playing dumb, the chicks, you know?
What if the eggs mind control the, like, senile elders as they're, like, going around to talk to people?
Oh, that's interesting. It was totally
as, like,
nuts.
bodyguards.
Right,
in a sense.
Maybe the older, like, the rooster. How would you do that, though? Because there's so many eggs.
Well, in a similar sense to, like, how in Overmind you're just like, nope, here's the one personality for this. You would probably phrase it as all of the intelligence of them with the personalities averaged out.
Oh, so they say the we.
Probably,
we do not do this. We do not do that.
I like that. That's always good and creepy.
You will come before us. Whichever one they're coming to. So
you imagine the party showing up like that.
The party shows up, in this jungle or
build up
something.
of creepiness, you know?
Oh, and at first it looks like they just come into a like council of hens.
Yes.
But then the hens lift themselves up and move away, and they're by the clutch.
Yeah.
Speak to us, mortals.
Oh.
That's
gotta be like,
Oh.
you gotta build up to that. So like the delivery of it's all just eggs. It's gotta be so satisfying to have everyone be like, what?
Yeah, it's.
And then they speak disrespectfully, and then they make will saves.
Yes.
Well, see what. You could actually keep it creepy the whole time if you did it in the right manner, because you could show as they're going through all their it's just chickens, it's just this. You will come before the elders, before the great round ones. You will come before them. You will come, and then their eyes change, and it's you in multiple voices kind of come out and say, "You will come before us," as this guard rooster was speaking. And then so they start to bring them in, and they actually have walls, like they've got society, type of thing going on. Tiny walls because they're chickens, but they're little tiny palisade that you can technically see over. But
it's totally a cool build with all the mess.
But as they come in, you keep it creepy because you see that there's actually other dominated races in here.
Oh, nice.
They have them dominated, and they keep the network because there's laying areas, there's coops stationed at certain points to expand the Hive-mind out to the edges of their palisade, so they know what's going on. All the lines are connected, and that's how they maintain their intelligence, and how they keep it from fading. And these different dominated races, maybe they've got a orc working a big strong orc working basically their troll door. So you could keep it creepy. It'd be a weird creepy, but it would be creepy.
Really weird. Because they gotta make sure there's enough new eggs coming in as they're hatching.
And they know they can't pass on their intelligence. But the thing with they can't pass it to another creature. But they know that they also know that chickens that breed together, it doesn't matter if a dad and a daughter and stuff like that, and that doesn't affect a chicken in much way. So they're able to maintain their social structure. They're able to do that through selective breeding. They may have, through eugenics, they have cultivated this particular breed and this particular breed. And so, and they don't care if it's eugenics because they're all a hive mind. They are the one. And one for many, many for one, or whatever you want to say in that. We are the they, or something.
Yeah, I like that.
The council guides.
The council guides, the council directs.
We are inferior, so we follow, or something. Right, because I'm imagining some of them would at time have went beyond the borders of their grouping, so some of them would probably have had time outside of the hive mind.
And they want to. They could actually pose a threat if they got strong enough. That's funny too, because they could actually pose a threat to other societies. Should they expand? Should they expand the Great Kluc'kin Empire?
Yeah. So for one thing, if they get strong enough and magical enough, they could continue on with awakening rituals.
If they've found a wizard. There might be some kind of restriction on the magic. Maybe they can't duplicate this. Maybe they can't duplicate the same ritual that was done on them, but they can do temporary things or different things. I don't know.
Yeah. The exact lore would have to be worked out.
Or they could awaken other chickens, but it doesn't pass on in their eggs. So they could have outside allies, but they wouldn't necessarily be able to expand the hive mind through them.
Okay.
Right, which would be the most important part, because if all the eggs, if you can't have continued awakened eggs, then it's gone.
And to build on our last thing before the time runs out, but to build on our starting thing with the ducks, they experimented. The hive mind experimented with awakening ducks.
Yes.
To cultivate them and to make them like them, so they would have an ally race that wasn't a chicken. But the duck they actually awakened made him too smart. He awakened and learned that there were things that increased your intelligence if you wore them. So he got smarter than the hive mind in intelligence anyway. And he went and he became a lich duck and started necromantically raising stuff. So now he's that's what's holding them back. That constant assault.
Yes.
Because the hive mind doesn't understand individuality the same way. So they'll send out their military to die because they're the ones that are dumb now. And so he's like, fine. And he destroys them and he raises them as chickens with their head cut off. And then he has more fodder to throw at them. So there's this constant battle between the Quacken and the duck and the
headless chicken zombies are probably the starting of this
why the party's
thing
there?
that gets you to that's why the party figures out about this whole situation in the first place, is the fact that there are constantly these headless chickens.
And so do you take
going
out
around attacking things?
So do you bother taking out the the Duck-lich? Duck-lich. You take out the Duck-lich, or do you leave or do you help the hive mind, or do you take out the hive mind, and then the Duck-lich be left alone to do his thing? So now you got two bad guys fighting two not good people fighting each other.
Yeah,
and the party's
with
all
other
like,
people getting hurt in the middle.
And it's got to start. The party's got to find out about this because of not very serious collateral damage on villages and stuff from the Duck-lich and the chicken.
Yeah.
The egg high five fighting
There's chickens disappearing and they think it's like a fox or something, but there's no sign of a struggle. But it's just the hive mind.
The party thinks it's like a downtime activity. It
turns into this whole thing where there's the possibility of either a hive mind trying to take over the entire kingdom or a Duck-lich trying to take over the entire kingdom. Pick your poison.
Actual threats.
You're level 10, and you hear about the missing chickens, and you ask the DM why it's going, and it's like, sometimes chickens go missing. You're an adventurer. They want your help.
Yeah, it's a slow month. You need to get your rent.
Yes. Yes. It'd be cool if you slow built in a longer campaign too. Just randomly throw in the news or something. You're hearing about chickens going missing or a duck doing some weird thing, like this nasty looking duck around.
So there's no struggle, but to pique their interest when they go and they look at the coop, there's actually sigils there that are no longer magical, but were. So that actually does pique their interest. That could lead into that.
Oh, and maybe the reason for the inspiration is hey, I know this is not the scale you work at, but we trust that you are skilled enough to find this out in an hour or two and
just knock it out.
I need to have a living.
Yeah.
If you'd please help. I know you've got other stuff, but
Right.
It's somebody they know. They built
up
a
pet NPC or something. Mm-hmm.
All right.
I love that.
Well, we're real close
to
time.
Poor Henryetta, she's gone.
Poor Henryetta.
I've been raising her since she was an egg. Her mother was out, so I kept that egg warm. But...
Oh yeah, and they don't do a lot of awakening. They don't do a lot of awakening of non-bred in the hive mind because the awakened ones actually do remember if the humans were kind to them. And so there's this real tension between the awakened chickens and the hive mind chickens.
Mm-hmm.
But you just add emotional weight to the chicken so that way they're more likely to actually investigate, to then find runes in the coop. Or even they say, hey, there was some like weird stuff going on in the coop there. They weren't just gone. There was like a bit of ash, there were lines drawn.
So it's the pet of the innkeeper at the hen's roost, where they are, where they stay every single time they come to this quaint little town. They're always treated good. And now this is chicken's gone missing. She's never gone.
Oh, that's
Tell us
cool.
if you use
Yes.
that. Tell us if you use
sounds
that.
so
people.
much fun.
I love that.
All
that
right.
takes some build up, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah. All right. We're real close to time. So, any final remarks?
Chickens.
Chicken.
Have a weird time.
Have a weird
Take an
time.
emotional break from heavier things and do some weird stuff.
And let us know if you use it. As always, have a great day. God bless and enjoy. Bye.
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 This content was made possible by travelers and viewers like you. Thank you.
Chicken
Yeah.
racer. Chicken racer.
Those are some great
chicken
ideas.
Racer, go. I think
my
that
gosh.
that whole build up we got to at the end, but the hen's roost at the innkeeper. That's
Yeah.
That's a solid.
You can
tie-in.
write that up.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would be some payoff if you could really invest some time into building it up to that.
Yeah, maybe one of them's from here, and they knew the innkeeper always treated them good, and so this is that's why they come to this particular town on their trips out.
Right.
Yeah.
And
You could
that hen is always there. Like you just make random comments about it's always there doing something silly. And
Yep. She
everyone
falls
loves
into
it.
the
Yeah.
bucket and clucks around in it for a little while until she falls out. So they have like this fun emotional attachment.
Yep.
Oh, one of the earlier quests could be like, hey, if you go out and save my chicken, like level 1 sort of thing, if you can go and find Henryetta, you can stay here for free forever.
Yes, I like that.
Whenever you're in town, you get a night. Every time you come by, you have a night free. So you give like in a thing. This person really cares about that chicken.
Yep.
A second thing, here's the reason to stay at this specific inn and see this specific innkeeper more often.
Right.
And you get like just the normal thing of like, hey, like someone grabbed the chicken one time and you found it.
Or maybe it's a constant thing they're having to do.
Oh,
He's constantly asking him, "Where's Henryetta?
Downtime side quest.
Where's Marybelle? Where's?"
Oh, I
whatever
love
it
that.
is.
And they